Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Penn. I am recording this video because I think this is very important in 2025. And in the Asian community, I think we need to have a very difficult conversation about who we are and where we go from here. Because what most Asian people don't realize, right, by coming to America is that America is not what it seems to be. I mean, sure, it looks great on the surface level, but you dig deep underneath the surface, you know that you're gonna see a lot of skeletons. And a lot of times, a lot of time we don't really question why we're here and how do we move forward. Because a lot of times we're thinking about making money. I mean, making money is very important. But I think what's lacking in the Asian community is our soul, our heart, our humanity. Because when we forget to mentor humanity, then we forget about the people who helped us to get here. And in this case, I know what I'm going to say is going to sound very controversial, but it's really the Black American freedmen of chattel slavery who really, fought for the Immigration Act of 1965, while they were fighting for civil rights in the 1960s. And a lot of times Asian people forget about their history, forget about Black Americans who paved the way for Asians to come to America and be successful. And when Asian people, parrot white supremacy talking points, they're really, really, really not confronting their anti-Black racism. And so Black Americans have really warned Asian people for many years, or several centuries, about, hey, when you come to America, everything is not going to be so like great. It may be great on the surface, but they're really telling you like the wounds, because the wounds are so big. When the wounds are so big to heal, it's going to require, big interventions, because you can't just heal the wounds with medicine. You have to heal it with big interventions. And 9 out of 10 times, Asian people forget about what Black Americans say or fail to preach what Black Americans have to say. For several years and counting. And it just becomes too late. It's too late for Asian Americans to really, for Asian people to really to come to terms and to really show solidarity to Black Americans, right? Because to show solidarity is really about offering substance. Because when you just have solidarity through symbolism, it does not mean anything to Black Americans. And Black Americans put a lot of soul and heart into this country. And then for Asian people to really disrespect Black Americans, not show appreciation. And I'm not saying all Asian people are like that, but good majority. So I know Asian people are gonna say to me, "Hey, you're talking about the entire Asian collective, or I'm trying to criticize the entire Asian community." I'm only speaking to the collectives. So I'm not speaking about Asian individuals who do care about Black Americans, but I'm talking about the collectives, because the collective of Asian people have anti-Black racism in their DNA. So when it's collective, it's very hard for collective Asian people to be like the minority of Asians who do care about Black Americans and who definitely want to see Black American freedmen of child slavery get Caspian reparation, because a debt is owed to the descendants. They've been voluntarily built this country, brought here involuntarily on ships, and then separated by the slave masters. And even as slavery ended 400 years ago, the effects are still there, and Black American freedmen are experiencing those mental effects. And if you want the mental effects to go away or to heal, it's like you have to cut the check, reparations. Because in the Asian community, we value money. So if we value money, we should understand money should definitely equate or equal humanity. And Asian people definitely need to pay respect to Black American freedmen. Asian people actually owe Black American freedmen a lot when it comes to building, when it comes to foundation of their own success. And Asian people didn't do it, didn't come to America by themselves at all. I mean, so they had few dollars. It doesn't mean Asian people did it on their own. They had Black American support. Black Americans fought for Asian people to be treated with dignity and respect. They fought for Asian people to have businesses, especially businesses being built in Black American communities. And then for Asians to disrespect Black Americans, it's really a slap on the face. And Asian people should know this. When you do business in Black American communities, always show respect to Black Americans, because Black Americans are going to be are going to be your loyal customers. And unfortunately, most Asian people don't show respect, or even like treat Black Americans how they want to be treated in this country. And a lot of times, as Asians, we forget about our history, how we were colonized, right? And we always just want the white man's money. And sometimes the white man's money sometimes the white man's money is not very good. Because when the white man loans money to Asians, there's going to be strings attached or agenda. And I want Asian people to know this. Because Black Americans are not going to come to Asian people's rescue anymore. Because delineation is the key for Black Americans to have healing, prosperity. And if Asian people show they really care about Black Americans, then Asian people need to align with me and some Asian and other individuals to fight for cash payment reparations for Black men freedom of chattel slavery. Because saying thank you or showing gratitude without substance is pointless. Because money is king in this country. And I want Asian people to know this, and I want Asian people to get on the code. Because if they really show solidarity with Black Americans, then Asians have to reciprocate or give back, right? It's like this, right? When someone helps you multiple times on your project, whether when it comes to like work, relationships, family life, you feel good, right? But the other way around, when someone asks you to help them, but then you don't, so they give back, how's that showing solidarity? How's that showing reciprocity? It's not. Because you keep taking, but you don't give. And Black Americans are getting tired of giving, right? Because they involuntarily built this country for 400 years and counting. They're tired and pretty much, brutalized. And Black Americans need a lot of oxygen, because the oxygen has been sucked away from Asians, Hispanics, and other like non-Black groups, right? So, in fairness, if Asian people really want to show that they care of Black Americans' interests, right? Asian people need to really solve solidarity first with following steps, and I'm glad I'm talking about solutions. Number one is Asian Americans need to come and speak out to Black Americans when it comes to police brutality, redlining, racial segregation, Black Americans not being treated with dignity and respect, even in our own community. So when Asian people see our own people disrespecting Black Americans, then Asian people need to come out, speak violently, speak against the anti-Black race in the Asian community. Also, Asian people need to end qualified immunity, because qualified immunity protects police officers. Does not protect Black Americans at all. And Asian people don't realize that they have anti-Black racism in their DNA, because they want to be adjacent to white privilege. And white people know very well, or say this very clearly, that Asian people are not close to them when it comes to when it comes to skin color. Okay. Number two is Asian Americans need to contact their mayors, city council, state senators, governors, presidents, Congress, and pretty much the whole 9 yards to lobby and introduce an anti-Black hate crime bill for Black American freedmen, right? Because as Asian people, yes, Asians receive an anti-Asian hate crime by President Joe Biden in 2021, because Black Americans are victims of white supremacy, according to FBI statistics, right? So 65% of Black Americans are victims of white supremacy and discrimination. So Black American needs have not been fully addressed. So they have to really show that if Black, I mean, if Asians want to show they care about Black Americans and want to give, then they need to show giving through direct action, sending out letters, writing open ad, contacting members of Congress, senators, and other other politicians at the state level. It's just not federal too, right? As well as Asian parents and kids, they need to talk about racism every day, have uncomfortable conversations because I can't do this alone as an Asian person. I'll do my best to combat anti-black racism, but it's up to the Asian collectives to voice their not only just to voice opinions, but they need to come up with solutions, right? And I mean, and sorry to digress. And also, third thing is reparations. Reparations need to be form of cash payments because cash payment reparations are essential for Black American freedmen to get a head start, right? Because white people and other groups have a head start ahead of Black Americans, and Black Americans don't. Black Americans always have to fight for crumbs every year, every day, every week, and Black Americans can't pass on wealth or intergenerational wealth to their kids and great grandkids. Otherwise, it's just passing on trauma, and Black Americans are getting tired of passing trauma after trauma to their kids and great grandkids, and that doesn't build wealth. Whereas other communities like myself are able to either inherit wealth or pass on wealth because we never truly understand what's it like for Black Americans to go through like bondage, trauma, racial covenants, and other horrible policies for several centuries and counting. And four is land grants. This is very important because without land, how can Black Americans build wealth, right? Other groups are able to own land, right, at the expense of Black Americans. So we need to show solidarity through land grants, right? And number fifth is the last one. Probably number five because I don't remember how many steps I mentioned. I think I mentioned four steps so far. But number five, the last one is once Black Americans get those resources, always protect them, right? We have to make sure Black Americans get legislation to be protected, right? Because Black Americans are not treated equally compared to other groups. So there needs to be a foundation legislation to protect Black Americans because they're a special group of people. So, at the end of what I'm saying, in summary, what I'm saying is that we need to think about who helped us to get here and who paved our way to be successful is the Black American freedmen of chattel slavery. Now, if most Asians take issue with what I have to say, then they can forget about what I said, but they should be also wise too. That listening to me will be very wise, will be very helpful. If they really want to show solidarity with Black Americans, I think they'll be wise to listen to what I have to say and what I have to offer at the table for Black American freemen to get tangible resources, as I mentioned earlier. If you like what I said in this comment, if you like what I said in this video, please comment, please hit subscribe, and make sure my video goes viral because this needs to be global. Because we still have not fully, we still have not fully come to terms with our anti-black racism in the Asian community, and I'll gladly appreciate it. And also Asian millennials and Gen Zers, please pass this information to your parents or great grandparents, whether in Vietnamese, Chinese, Hindi, or whatever language we speak in the Asian diaspora, because I think it's very important. The older generation needs to consider, because Black Americans are just tired of speaking out for us. So it's time for us to stand up, and I gladly appreciate it. Thank you, and you guys have a great, great night wherever you're in the West Coast. And for me, it's a great day. Thank you.